Hello crafty friends, it's Donna here, and I've got a different video for you today. Normally you see my hands making cards, but today we're going shopping. Most shops in Japan open at either 10 or 11 in the morning, and so I'm there nice and early. First up, we're going to Tokyu Hands. Floor after floor of a treasure trove of items for your home. I started filming at the 6th floor, thinking I must be getting to stationery soon, but that didn't happen until the 8th floor. We'll have a little look around, and then I'll move over to the Copics, which is what I've come here for. There is so much beautiful stationery in Japan, and for a hoarder like me, it's a real temptation. Notebooks of every size and colour, it's all here. Theft in Japan is much lower than a lot of other countries, and so most things are available as open stock. People often ask me about scrapbooking supplies in Japan. And the short answer is, it's not very big here. These 2 pads are the only 2 pads. This is the selection of papers. There are some small wooden backed stamps, and you can see also a few paper punches. What they do have is washi tape. It's called masking tape, masking tape here in Japan, not washi tape, and I'll show you what washi is in Japan a little bit later. Although there's not much in the way of dedicated card making supplies, lots and lots of the products that we use come from Japanese companies. Copic, Kuretake, so the zig markers, Tsukineko, which make quite a few inks that are commonly used, are all Japanese, and the prices reflect that. When I came to Japan, I had a very small selection of Copic markers, and I have bit by bit, over the years, bought 1 or 2 or 3 when I've gone shopping to add to my collection. And then while I'm here, I'm also collecting the refills so that I won't have to buy them in Australia at 4 times the price. Today's list is 2 Copics that have broken lids and need replacing, and 7 refills. I love that you can get open stock pencils in Japan. I think it's such a great idea that when you use one up, you don't need to replace the whole packet. We're going to leave Tokyu Hands now and go to my all-time favourite shop, which is called Sekaido. Also many stories high. This is an art supplies and picture framing specialist shop, with each type of art having pretty much its own floor. This floor is for drawing and colouring. Lots of pencils, charcoal, drawing papers, and all of the big brands are here. I'm going to try some Charisma colour pencils today and get a small selection. I saw a recent video by Sarah Renee Clark, and she looked at what these pencils were, and it looks like Japan has the license to produce Prismacolors with this name, and they're quite reasonably priced here, so I want to try them. I only have a starter set of Polychromos pencils at the moment, and I'd like to expand on that. New level, new art medium. We're upstairs now at painting. Here we are now at the watercolours. On one side we have all of the international brands, and then on the other side there are lots of Japanese watercolours, including things that you might recognise like Gansai Tambi. Here's a range of different sets down here, and lots of beautiful mica paints as well. I would have loved to have bought this, but the base was ceramic. It was so heavy. I did end up getting 3 things on this floor. Upstairs again, and we're at paper. There is so much paper on this level. This is the largest size that they have on the shelves, but you can buy it much bigger from behind the shelf. And they have these books with sample papers in them, so that you get to see the colours, try them out, and feel the thickness of the paper before you make your purchase. This book that I'm taking now is labelled Washi. Wa means Japanese, shi is paper. Washi is just Japanese paper. And I'm just having a quick little look through a couple of the books. I'd like to buy some of this, but I didn't get any today. Once again, because people were asking, I'm going to show you the scrapbooking section. Slightly bigger here. There is one rack of papers. These are by Kuretake, the same people that make the zig markers that you might be familiar with. And there's lots of cute stuff and not so much grunge. I'm going to head downstairs now to the very bottom level, which is the stationery level. I have one thing on my shopping list, which is a book cover, and I'm hoping to find it downstairs. Branded goods are really big in Japan. Here's a little selection for you of some Miffy that was also on that bottom floor. We're going to step out onto the streets of Shinjuku now. That's where we've been for both of these shops. I think I might have found myself in the wrong price point end of Shinjuku by this point, and so we're going to keep walking. But I thought I'd show you a little footage of the sort of Tokyo that I think people imagine all of Tokyo is. So many screens, so many flashing lights, a lot less people than there were pre-COVID, but it's still bustling. Next, we're heading across Shinjuku to a crafty store of a different sort. I'm just quickly popping in here to have a look at some wool. This is Okadaya, and they have so many cute little knitted toys here. Nuigurumi are a popular thing to knit and crochet in Japan. And I thought I'd give you a little tour of some of the cute nuigurumi, which you can find all up and down the staircase. Of course, it's another small shop of many floors. After this, I went by train and visited 2 more shops. A knitting store called Walnut, where I was too scared to video, and a bookstore in Ikebukuro, which I didn't video because I wasn't sure if it would interest everybody. Part 2 of 3 of this video might be of special interest to those of you that are trying to picture me living my life in Tokyo. This is the room where I spend all of my time. If you want to picture me, this is where I'll be. I have my cup of tea, my Japanese study materials, a sneaky sneak of some upcoming cards, and my shopping to share with you. I've been home a lot for the last 3 years, and I haven't really been shopping much. But one of the unexpected bonuses of having COVID last month was having a short period of time where I felt invincible. And so I've gone back to Tokyo and shopped a little harder than I would have. I had 3 years worth of stuff banked up after all. So let's have a look at what we got. First of all, the Copics. As always, they had every single thing on my list in store. Next, Sekaido, the art supplies shop. As with most of these stores, there's a separate register on each level. And so everything is wrapped in 3 different bags because I basically shopped 3 times in that shop. These are the Charisma colours, and I bought about 10 to try. My gold paint has almost run out, and so I bought a couple of golds. If you're wondering about Japanese prices, they're often written in a little rectangle on the price tag. This here was a little bit of an impulse buy. For my time in quarantine with COVID, I spent a lot of time watching videos on art journaling and keeping a visual diary, and I have to admit I got a bit hooked, and I'm hoping that having a really nice little portable set of watercolours will inspire me to get drawing. This set cost 2,310 yen, which, depending on your country, is somewhere between $20 and $30. I did find a cute book cover. In Japan, on the trains, when you read a book, you never see the cover of anybody's book. We all have book covers. I don't know if we're all out there protecting people that are reading what they shouldn't be and keeping it covered, but that's just what you do. And I have a book cover, but it's getting quite old and worn, and also one of the sides is a little bit small and it doesn't quite hold the page. And so I'm excited to get a new book cover. This book, by the way, is fabulous. It's called Kikansha Sensei, and it's about a mute primary school teacher who goes from one end of Japan to teach in a little island at the other end of Japan, and about his adventures guiding the children. I'm absolutely loving it. This book is read from right to left, and so you can see by the bookmark that I'm almost at the end. You can see the price there. I buy all my books at the second-hand store. 100 yen is roughly 100 cents, rounded up or down. So I just cross off the last two numbers and look at how many dollars it'll be. Roughly $1 for a second-hand book. I mentioned that one of the shops that I went to was a second-hand bookshop. I've been slowly collecting the books on a list of recommended reading for school students over the last 2 years, and I had a really bumper successful day. All of these books from my list were at the bookshop. The list that I use comes from Kumon, and they have a list of recommended reading from early picture books right up to the very right-hand column, which has things like War and Peace in translation. I'm collecting the books on this list that are not in translation, basically all of those that were originally written by Japanese authors, so that I'll have a lovely library when I move back to Australia and I can keep reading. I'm pretty excited about this wool. When I use this, it will be the first time that I've ever knitted a pattern in the recommended wool. I'm always scrounging around for a substitute. I'm just waiting for the weather to cool down. Next, I went to Walnut. It's a lovely wool shop, and they publish their own magazine that I've been wanting for a long time. So I bought a copy of the magazine. I also bought 2 balls of wool, a cotton wool mix to make some socks, and I'll have to admit that in the time between shopping and filming this, I did break into one of them and start one of the socks. I did get a chance to play with the pencils and swatch the colours, and they are indeed very buttery. Finally, I have a little bit of unrelated footage for you. We went to a Japanese festival the other night, and I got quite teary watching the dancers and listening to the music and just celebrating being back together again. And if I felt like that as a foreigner who's only been here for 5 years, I can't imagine how the local people who've been coming and celebrating this all of their lives must have felt. And I thought that you might enjoy a little bit of it too. So I'm going to end this video with about 3 minutes of footage. I hope that you enjoy it. hope you've enjoyed this different sort of a video. Feel free to like and subscribe if you want to. I'll be back soon. Bye for now.